2024 officially marks 10 years since the How I Met Your Mother finale first came out. At the time, critics and fans alike generally thought it was a bad finale, and 10 years later, despite other shows having poor finales in that time too, people still consider How I Met Your Mother to be one of the worst finales of all time. Now for me, I'll be honest, How I Met Your Mother is my favorite show of all time. I have a list of well over 30 different shows I've watched, ranked in, with the exception of one show, not a single show on that list can compare to How I Met Your Mother. I thoroughly enjoyed the show from start to ending, and that's including the finale. So today we are going to talk about that finale, and in particular about how in the end, the mother passes away and Ted goes back to Robin, and why I think it's such a good finale. I, like many, came into the finale having fallen in love with the mother throughout season 9. It was really hard to imagine what the mother would be like coming into the last season, and they absolutely blew it out of the park. She was a perfect choice. She did such a great job for the show. So naturally, as I'm watching the finale for the first time, I was really sad to see her pass away and then Ted go back to Robin. I mean, to be quite honest, Ted and Robin were never my favorite relationship for Ted. I really liked his relationship with Victoria, with Zoe, and the mother herself. I liked them a lot more than I liked the relationship with Robin. So my first watch, as I'm seeing this all go down, I'm verbally saying no to the TV screen because I was not happy to see all that. Now I bring all this up because I want to show, yeah, I felt the same way as so many people did when I first watched the How I Met Your Mother finale. I wasn't happy with it. But as time went on and I reflected on it, did I realize just how good of a finale it actually was? I think there's two facts that people really gloss over that are just so important to the story and why I enjoyed the finale. One being how the mother got sick and passed away. And yeah, people look at it and be like, oh, the mother died and then Ted just went back to Robin. But it's so much more to that, and I'll get to that because the second thing is a line Penny says I just really like about how Mom's been gone for 6 years. It's time. Like 6 years is a very long time. And I get it. Like all this news comes out to us and it's like less than 5 minutes till the finale's done. Like, yeah, it's not a lot of time in the moment to process it. That's why I think as time goes on, you should appreciate it more. Because 6 years is so long. I mean, we're in 2024 right now at the time this video comes out. So 6 years from now is 2030. So think about that, where life goes from now to that moment. Or better yet, reflect on where you were in 2018. That was pre-COVID. Like, life was so different. I know it was different for me. I'm sure it was different for all of you too. Like, life changes so much in 6 years. And for this family, I mean, they're hurting. Think about it. Like, Ted was with the mother. She and Ted were together from 2013 to 2024. She's now been gone for 6 years. Over half the length of their relationship, she's passed away. She's been gone for longer than they were actually married. And then you look at the kids, they're 15 and 13. So that means when their mom passed away, they were 7 and 9. That means at best half their childhood is without their mother, and then the rest of their life. Like, that's a long time. And both Ted and the kids are gonna have so much changing in their lives. I mean, look at it from Ted's perspective. He's 51, 52 years old as he tells the kids his story. You know, he should probably live another 30 years if he's healthy, if not more. So for Ted, I mean, he's still got a lot of his life ahead of him. And he's finally at a point, the person he thought for a long time his one is in a point where they could both be together. She's had a successful career. He's had his children. They could finally be together, and they don't have to marry. They could just be dating. Even if they do, that's great too. But then you look at it from the kids' perspective. They've been without a mom for 6 years. They can look at Robin as someone that they obviously like. They know their dad likes, who's been in their lives pretty much their entire life. Like, yeah, of course they should want their dad to be happy. They should want that mother figure in their life, and it's not to replace Tracy, but to fill that absence in their life. I think it makes sense for all 4 people involved in this story for them to finally come together and have Ted and Robin be a couple. And like, I get it. Like, they aren't my first choice. I already said that. But that's what I just love about this show, because you would have not really pictured this coming in, but I'm happy with it. For me, why I love How I Met Your Mother more than any other sitcom, and in my list of over 30 shows, there's plenty of sitcoms on there, but those other sitcoms, it's a happy ending. And not that happy endings are bad, it's not always realistic. And I think that's what How I Met Your Mother shows. Like, How I Met Your Mother, we see a lot of problems in all 5 characters' lives, and I think more so than any other sitcom. And I think this ending's the perfect example of that. Like, I hope I never go through what Ted went through. I hope you guys listening don't either. But it's realistic. Like, yes, sometimes people lose their spouse at a young age. Kids lose their parents at a young age. But life has to move on. And for 6 years, like, this family, I don't want to say they've been struggling, but it's been hard. And, it's finally got to a point where Ted can see himself being with Robin, being with someone other than the mother. And it's hard. I'm sure it's hard for him, just like it's hard for the kids. But life does have to move on. And for Ted to finally be with someone who really matters to him after 6 years of, really trying to move on, for lack of better term, I'm happy to see Ted finally be happy again. I think if anything, I can agree with people in the fact that a lot of the finale and really the end of season 9 is just so rushed. Like, I wish they gave us more time. I mean, really think about it. From like 2020 to 2029, like, we get very little in those characters' lives in the finale. And that's really disappointing. Like, I want to know more that went on. Like, the fact that they only did 2 episodes, I really think they should have given a 3rd episode to this finale, even if they couldn't have aired it together. Like, at least do some other parts of characters' lives. I think that would have been great, even if you have to, like, jump in the future. I mean, Lost did it pretty well, where they had to jump all over the place. I think How I Met Your Mother easily could have done that. And I think it probably goes back to a larger complaint about season 9. In general, like, they spent the entire season building up to Barney and Robin's wedding. I think it would have been better suited if that wedding happened, like, in the middle of the season, and then the second half of the season, maybe we took each of the 6 main characters, got to explore their life after the wedding, and then you can still build up and do the end where Ted and Tracy finally get to meet, but we also get to see what goes on in each other's lives. For me, the thing I definitely didn't like about the finale was that Barney and Robin got divorced in, like, the first 10 minutes. It's not that they got divorced, but it's really, I mean, think about it. Like, people say how they wasted the whole season on their wedding. No, they wasted a season and a half. Like, they got engaged in the middle of season 8, so they've been building up since the middle of season 8. That's why, like I just said, I wish they did this in, like, the middle of the season, so we kind of could have seen their marriage fall apart. So when we get to the finale and it's like, we got divorced, it's like, oh, okay, like, that makes sense. Like, they just weren't compatible. Because, like, yeah, I really like Barney and Robin. Everybody seemed to really like Ted and Tracy. Like, yeah, perfect world, they do finish and are together. And I guess that's where the alternate ending is for people that do want that. But, like, ultimately, I just wish we got more time to really show why they didn't work out, instead of, like, in the first 10 minutes being like, yeah, the season and a half of build, it's over. And I think one of the things that I definitely didn't like to see happen but made a lot of sense was Robin kind of moving on from the group for a long time. Because, I mean, think about it. There was a point in the show where both Barney and Ted were her ex, and she was still hanging out with everybody like nothing happened. And, I mean, future Ted acknowledged that was kind of weird. And that's just the reality. Like, especially after the divorce, why would she want to hang out with those guys anymore? Like, it makes sense that she wanted to move on, especially seeing that Ted's happy. And I completely believe that. She's like, yeah, like, I should have been with Ted, especially looking at how happy his life was, and seeing her get divorced with Barney. Like, I'm sure she has a lot of regret. I think it makes so much sense that she moved on from the group for a long time. I mean, it's one of those things that it sucks to watch, that be like, these 5 people I saw be so close for so long are now not that close anymore, especially with one person in particular. It sucks to see, but it makes so much sense. And again, it's why I like the show, because they didn't have to do that, and some people probably wish they did do that, but the path they were going down completely made sense that would happen in Robin's life. I definitely get the complaint about, like, Marshall and Lily not having much screen time. We hear that they have a 3rd kid. We don't even know the kid's name. Marshall continues to move up in his career. But, like, that's about all we hear from Marshall and Lily. And again, kind of going back to what I said earlier, that would have been nice if the wedding was moved up so we had time to kind of see what goes on in Marshall and Lily's life. Because I think a lot of people would have enjoyed that. I know I would have. And then Barney, I actually do like how it finishes. Like, at the time, I was like, I don't want to see Barney have a kid after all this time, but, especially knowing him and Robin weren't going to be endgame, it makes sense that he has a kid, and, it's finally what brings him true happiness that he's been searching his whole life for. And it's a good finale for Barney in that way. And I think that scene, especially where he holds his child for the first time, that's one of the scenes I think people take the best. They really were happy with Neil Patrick Harris's performance in the finale. I definitely was. I'm a big Neil Patrick Harris fan. But yeah, I really liked what they ultimately did here with Barney. With all that in mind, I did really enjoy the How I Met Your Mother finale. I will acknowledge that if they didn't have to film the ending in season 2 and they got to film it in season 9, it probably would have been a little different than what we got. But regardless, I'm happy because like I said, so many sitcoms, pretty much every sitcom you get a happy ending, and this is kind of the exception. It is happy, but not in the sense that everybody would have liked. But that's what makes the show what it is. Like, they get so serious, a lot more serious than any other sitcom does for all these characters. So I like how they ended with all that in mind. On a side note, I enjoyed How I Met Your Father, and unfortunately they ended the show and it's 2024. We never got to see Ted and Tracy in How I Met Your Father. I feel like this season they probably would have done it if they got a season 3. And it would have been so cool because this is 2024 to kind of see what's happening. This is obviously the year Tracy passes away, to see what happened. Like, does she have cancer? What's going on that Tracy passes away, and kind of see how that affects Ted's life and the kids too. I would have loved to see that. But ultimately, we're not getting that. I do hope that someday we get some sort of a How I Met Your Mother season 10 or even just a one-off. Like, I think that'd be really fun. It kind of sucks that now if you do it in present day 2024, it's obviously not going to happen this year. So unfortunately, we wouldn't get to see how Tracy gets sick. It would just be in the post world, but maybe we get to learn more about it. I think if they paced it better and didn't have a full season dedicated to the wedding, I think the reception for this finale could have been so much better. But I just hope that, with the time that's gone on, I hope you can really reflect on like the positives of why this finale made sense. I'd love to hear what you all have to think about the How I Met Your Mother finale in the comments below, and please let me know if anything I said maybe changed your mind. I feel like myself, whenever I look up or listen to people talking about the How I Met Your Mother finale, it's generally full of people negatively talking about it, so I wanted to bring some positivity to it because I do think it's a good finale. Now after this, How I Met Your Mother is, like I said, my favorite show. There's plenty of other topics of the show I'd like to cover, and I have a lot of other shows I've watched that I've enjoyed. I'd like to talk about it, or maybe even negatively talk about shows I didn't enjoy that much. Maybe even someday go over my list of 30 plus shows and why I have each show ranked where it is. So that's all to come in the future, but thank you all for watching. Be sure to subscribe for more, and I hope you all have a great day.